In this video, I'm gonna show you how to play Yakuza Dead Souls on PC with the best settings for stability and performance using the PS3 emulator RPCS3. I'm almost done with the game myself, and the only issue I've had are the random crashes that can happen, but with the settings that I'll show you, we're gonna minimize them as much as possible. Let's get going. If you're planning on buying on Amazon, please use my affiliate link below in the description. Any product on the website will count and you will be directly supporting the channel. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna get is the emulator itself. The link for this page will be on the description of this video. And this emulator is available on Windows, Linux, and macOS, but this tutorial is for Windows PC. So right here on the Windows section, you're gonna click right here where it says download for x64. Go ahead and click on this one and put the file on the desktop of your computer. Also, still here on this page, you're gonna scroll down a little bit, and where it says installing on Windows, you're also going to download Visual C++. This is required in order for the emulator to work. So go ahead and click on this one to download the file and also put it on the same place, the desktop of your PC. Next, we're gonna get 7-zip. This is required for extracting files if you are on Windows 10. But if you are on Windows 11, you can also get this file too, but Windows 11 has its own extracting feature, right? So you can just use that as well. But if you are on Windows 10 on 7-zip, click here on this download button to get the file, and you're also going to drop this on the desktop of your PC. Now on your desktop, you should have all three files with you, right? And we're gonna start by installing VC++. It is this file right here. So go ahead and double click on this file. And this window will open up for you. And there is a chance that you already have VC++ installed on your PC. If you played games on your PC before, actual PC games that is, then there is a good chance that you already have it, which is the case for me right here. It says right here, modify installation. So if this window shows up for you, you don't have to install this. You can go ahead and close this, but if it does not, then you're just gonna keep clicking on next until it is fully installed. Next, we're gonna install 7-zip if you also got this file. And this one is very straightforward. You just have to double click on the 7-zip file and this window will show up. And all you gotta do is just click here on the install button. With a few moments, and there you go. It's already installed, so go ahead and click on close. And you should see that both icons are going to look like the one that I have here, which means that 7-zip is working as it should. Now, at this point, you can go ahead and delete VC++ and also 7-zip. We're not gonna need this anymore. You're just gonna need the emulator file itself. So what you're gonna do here on the RPCS3 file, you're gonna click on it with the right button, and then put your mouse on top of 7-zip, and then you're gonna click on extract to and the name of the emulator. That way, all the files will be inside a folder. There you go. You should now have this folder with you, and at this point, you can delete the original zip file. We're not gonna need this anymore. So in here, you can go ahead and rename the folder if you want. I'm just gonna keep mine with the default name. And now, you're going to double click on this folder to open. And as such, you're gonna see all these files right here. And to start the emulator, you just have to double click on the RPCS3 application file. So go ahead and do that, and then it's gonna take you to this window. In here, you can do some stuff like create a desktop shortcut or also change the theme of the emulator. This one is gonna be up to you. Now to move on, turn off the show at startup option and enable the I have read the quick start guide. And then just click on continue. And there you go. Now the emulator will show up for you. This would be a good time to subscribe to the channel and also leave a like on this video. Now the first thing we're gonna do with the emulator is install the firmware. And we can get that on the official Sony website. The link for this page will be on the description of the video. So in here, you're gonna scroll down a little bit and arrive at this section, how to update PS3 system software. So you're gonna click on this option, update using a computer, and then you're gonna see this button showing up for you. For most people, just clicking on this button doesn't work. The download doesn't start for whatever reason. So what you're gonna do here, you're gonna click on this button with the right button of your mouse And on this option, you're gonna select copy link address. And then you're gonna paste this link on the browser that you are using. So you can go ahead and just right click on this one and select the paste option, or you can just press Ctrl V as well. And now you just have to press enter to start the download. And you're going to download the firmware file to the same emulator folder. Here on my emulator folder, you can see that I have the firmware with me. It is this file, ps3 update.pup. So now what you're gonna do, go back to the emulator, click on the first option, file, and then you're gonna select install firmware. It should open the emulator folder by default. So now you just have to double click on the firmware file. In case this file isn't showing up for you, you're gonna go here to the bottom right side of the screen, click on PS3 update, and then you're gonna change this to all files. Then you're gonna see everything, and including the firmware as well. So go ahead and double click on this one, and it's gonna take you back to the emulator and install the firmware. It should only take a few seconds, and there you go. Go ahead and click on OK, and now it's going to compile the firmware PPU modules, but this one shouldn't take long. Now for Dead Souls, in order to get the best settings, we have to enable the debug option of the emulator. And to do that, here on the emulator, you're gonna click on this button where it says config. Just click here once and this window will open. And once it's open, you're gonna go ahead and close this. Now you're gonna close the emulator itself, and back on the emulator folder, there is this folder right here called uconfigs. So you're gonna double click on this one to open, and inside you should have this file with you, current settings. And you should be able to open this by just double clicking the file. It's going to open the notepad, but if it doesn't open for you, then you're gonna right click on this file, select open with, and then you're gonna pick the notepad right here. But if notepad doesn't show up, then you're gonna select choose another app option. And in here, you're gonna find notepad on your options and then click on OK, and then it should work. Now back on the file, double click on this one to open, and there you go. And the setting we need is right here on the top under this meta setting. It is this option, show debug tab equals false. So what you're gonna do here is simply, you're gonna click on false and you're going to erase the name. And then you're gonna type true with your keyboard, exactly like this. That's all you have to do. Now, don't forget to save. Click on File and then click on Save, or you can press Ctrl S on your keyboard, and that's all we gotta do here. So go ahead and click on Close, and now you can go back to the emulator. Now, to add your game in here, you're gonna go back to the emulator folder, and there should be this folder with you already created. It's called Games. So you're gonna double click on that, and then it's gonna be a couple of files in here. And this is where I'm gonna drop the folder with the game files of Dead Souls. So in my case, I have the game in the PKG and RAP format. But you can also find the game on the ISO format as well. In this case, you have to extract the ISO file in order to get the game files, which are going to be different than the one that I have here. But because this is a rip of the digital version of the game, it shows up as PKG and RAP. And if you have a copy of the game with you, you can make a rip of that into your PC so you can play on the emulator. That would be the ideal way of doing this. Or you could do a Jack Sparrow, if you know what I mean. But because of YouTube's guidelines, because YouTube is very strict about this sort of thing, I cannot show you here on the video how to do that, because if you do, they delete the video and strike the channel. So the best thing that I can say without getting in trouble is that Google is your friend. Now, if you got the game on the ISO format and you did the extraction and everything, and if that's on the games folder, the emulator should automatically detect it right here. But if it doesn't show up, you're gonna click here on this refresh button, and then it should show up. But if you have the game as PKG and RAP like I have, then on the emulator, you're gonna click on the file option, and then you're gonna select this option, install packages. It should open the emulator folder by default. So now you're going to locate where the PKG and RAP are, which is the games folder, and then the folder of the game. And inside, you can just press and hold the left button on your mouse to select both files. Remember, you need both of these in order for it to work. Just the PKG will not work. It also needs the RAP as well. Then you're gonna click on this open button, and then you should see this message with the emulator installing the game. And there you go. You should see this success window. Click on OK, and the game should appear right here. Now let's tweak the emulator settings to give us the best performance and stability on this game. And to do that, you're gonna click on the game with the right button of your mouse, and then you're gonna select this option, Create Custom Configuration. Now this window will show up for you. On the first option, CPU, the only setting you're gonna change here is SPU block size. Click on this one and change this to Mega. Now move over to the GPU settings. On the first option, Renderer, make sure that this one is set to Vulkan. But if Vulkan doesn't show up for you, that means your PC doesn't support that. In this case, you're gonna have to play the game with OpenGL, in which you can play the game, but the performance will be much worse. On graphics device, make sure that this one is set to your main GPU in case you have a dual GPU setup. Make sure this one is set to your main one. Below that, on an isotropic filter, click on this one and change this to 16x. This one has minimal impact on performance. Next, if you want to change the resolution of the game, make sure that the default resolution is set to 720p. Don't change this one, and instead, you're gonna use the resolution scale option. By default, it's also set to 720p, so you can just use this slider here to improve or reduce the resolution of your game in case you want to get more performance. But on this game, if you are going to change the resolution to anything other than 100%, then it is also very much recommended that you disable the SPU. Also, I almost forgot, a higher resolution means that your game is going to look better, but it's also going to require more of your PC, right? Don't forget that. But anyway, if you're going to play the game at 1080p resolution, we have to disable the SPU. So what you're gonna do here is click on Apply, and then Save Custom Configuration. Now back on the game, you're gonna right-click on it once again, but this time you're gonna pick this option, Manage Game Patches. This window will show up, and at first it's going to ask you if you want to download the latest patches. Go ahead and click on Yes. But on this game, you're not going to see anything here. That is, to get there, you have to delete the code of the game right here. Just delete this, and then all these options will show up. And the SPU for this game is located right here, the first option. Double click on All Titles, and then double click on All Versions. The patch for Dead Souls is located here on Multiple Titles 02. So all you gotta do here is just click on this box right next to it, and there you go. Now hit Apply and then Save. Now we can go back to the settings. So right click once again, and then select Change Custom Configuration. And back on the GPU, and now you can mess with the resolution scale of this game. But remember, this is only if you are using a resolution scale that is different than 100%. When I played the game, I had this option set to 1080p, and the performance was pretty good all around. I'm showing that on the screen right now, so you can use that as a reference. Now below this, on resolution scale threshold, you're going to change this to 512 by 512. You can use the keys on your keyboard to be more precise, and you should change this regardless of what resolution scale you set here. This is gonna prevent the screen borders from showing up in your game. Now on the top, you're gonna click on the Debug tab that we activated before, and in here, the only option you have to enable is this one, Force CPU Blit Emulation. Just click on this one, and we're good. Now this part is optional, but I also like going here on the Emulator tab and then disable the Show Shader Compilation Hint and PPU Compilation. They can be annoying because every time the emulator is doing one of this, you're gonna get a notification on the side of your screen. So they can be annoying, and I just like to turn them off. But this one is gonna be up to you. Now with everything done, go ahead and click on Apply and then Save Custom Configuration. And we are done with the configuration. Next, we're going to configure the controls for this emulator. And first, you're going to click here on this pads option, and this window will show up for you. And on this emulator, you can play with your keyboard or your PlayStation or Xbox controller, and even third-party controllers as well. They can also work on the emulator. So if you're going to play with the controller, if you don't have that plugged in, go ahead and do that right now. And right here on handlers, you're going to click on keyboard, and then you're going to select your device. If you're using a Xbox controller, this is the one you're going to need right here, X input, which is also what I have as well. So by just double clicking on this one, it should detect your controller, and then the emulator is going to do the automatic configuration for you. So you don't have to change anything here unless you want to change a individual button or two. This one is going to be up to you. You can just click on the button you want to change and then press that button on your controller, and it should work. The same way, if you want to play with the keyboard, you just have to select right here and then change it as you will. When you're done, click on save, and we are ready to start the game. And to do that, you just have to double click on the game to start. And when you do this for the first time, it's going to compile these PPO modules, but you only have to do this for the first time. And how long this is going to take will depend on how good your CPU is, but it shouldn't take that long. To go full screen, you can double click the screen, or you can press Alt and Enter on your keyboard. I have many emulation guide videos like this on the channel, so if you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe and also leave a like on this video, and also check out my other stuff. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.